So far we've been tackling these CSS transitions one at a time. We've changed color, we've changed opacity, we've caused a div tag to scale up and then back, we've moved and rotated, but the real magic comes in when you can use multiple different types of transitions on the same div tag or the same image. And we're going to do that here with this final square. Prior to starting this video, I went in and made a few adjustments. And let me just go over what some of those adjustments are. First of all, I did add the transition rules. I added a border, a pretty hefty border of 30 pixels, solid orange. I reduced the size of the box slightly to 100 by 100. And I also added a border radius of 100%, which will give a perfect circle. With the border radius, like many of the properties we've been working with, you need the browser prefixes, and we're professionals at adding those in. So the result is this. Now my text is admittedly a little wonky in there, and you know, maybe it would be cooler if it were a little icon or something, but nonetheless, I'm going to just let that ride. For my hover version of Combo, I'm going to throw in a lot of different things into the mix. I'm going to scale, which is translate. I'm going to rotate, and I'm also going to, what am I going to do? Move it, rotate it, and scale it. Sorry about that. All right, so let's start out and get one rule into place. Everything starts out with transform, colon, and what do you want to transform? Well, let's start out with rotate. We'll rotate 10 degrees, so 10 DEG. Now here's the thing. If you need multiple transforms, whether they be rotate, scale, or translate, they all go in the same transform property line. So if in addition to rotate, I also want to indicate a scale, I'll just add a space and enter my scale. And I'm not going to go too crazy on the size, maybe 1.3. And I also want to translate or move this just a bit. So translate. Remember with translate you get an X and a Y. So maybe 10 pixels over and 10 pixels down. Okay, I'll get my semicolon in there. So all three of those, rotation, scale, and translate, are in the same transform property. That's the only way this is going to work. Now that I have that, I have to come back and add our friends, the browser prefixes, WebKit, MOZ, O. Okay. And you know what? I think that's not going to be enough. I really want to make this thing look totally different on hover state. So out in the browser, I am pulling up the website, css3.me, which is a CSS generator. So if you wanted a different type of border radius, if you wanted a box shadow, if you wanted some kind of gradient or opacity, we've used this website before and it's wonderful for getting the code. Plus, it gives you the browser prefixes right off the bat. So I have already come in and decided that I wanted a box shadow and I didn't want it equally distributed. So I've offset by 4 pixels vertically and horizontally, and I have a little bit of a blur. I might even give it more of a blur. And here's the resulting preview. I will get the code. A lot of what you're seeing in this particular code are comments, so I'm not going to grab everything. I'm just going to grab the meat, all of the actual properties with the browser prefixes. Copy. I will come back and add those into my hover state as well. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of things going on now. size change, rotation change, movement, and a drop shadow. And if that weren't enough, I think I will also copy this border, paste it, and maybe I will just change the border color just because I can. All right, now the drum roll as I go out to the browser, refresh. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Lots of different properties, lots of different transitions, all built into the same hover. So from time to time you want something just simple and basic, and that's fine too. But remember that you can combine multiple properties, and if they happen to be scale, rotate, or translate, they do have to go into the same transform line.